Now let us study how to construct the next part of the connecting rod, that is called as cover, which is the seventh part of a connecting rod. Now you can see this is what a sketch of a connecting rod. Now without considering these things, let us consider the thickness as 20 millimeter over here. After considering this 20 millimeter, we have to draw this circles which is having a distance of 1.5 millimeter, and let me show you how to draw the seam. Let me go for solid edge. In the solid part, let me go for a command called protrusion. Let me select the front plane as a sketching plane. Go for circle by center point command. Give the diameter as 48 millimeter, which has to be started little bit front side from this plane. Now give the radius as 29 millimeter. Both the circle center should be same. After doing both the circle center should be same, now log this value as 58, log this value as 48. Now the distance between this circle center and this plane is supposed to be 1.5 millimeter only. After giving this necessary dimension, what is the next step? Using a line command, starting from this intersection point, just draw a line like this. Now here, just draw a line like this. From here to here a line, the same fashion, with respect to the same position, a line should be drawn like this. Now after drawing the necessary lines, make yourself a command called trim. Trim the unwanted portions like this. Trim the unwanted portions like this. After trimming these portions, now you can see here, this dimension has lost, so let me give it as R29 once again. Now we have a command called symmetric relationship. Select this plane as the symmetric axis. This line must be symmetrical to this line must be symmetrical to this line must be symmetrical to this line. After defining that, we know that the distance between this line to this line is supposed to be 80 millimeter. Now the distance between these two lines must be equal to 20 millimeter. After giving all these values, now here instead of giving R29, let us add another 1.5. What is that 1.5? Let me teach you. Now you can see here to here is 24. From here to here is 5 millimeter. That is 29. From the center is 29. Now from here onwards, you can see one more section is there. That is nothing for 5 plus 6.5. This 5 mm is nothing but from here to here, and from here to here is 1.5. So instead of drawing 29 millimeter, let us draw 29 plus 1.5 millimeter, which is nothing but 30.5 millimeter. That is the only change we need to do. So now, but the center of both the circle must be same. There should not be any difference between both the centers. So let me make it as concentric. Now after doing these things, let me say return. Now how much it has to be protruded? It has to be protruded for 33 mm symmetrically. Now I have done that. After doing these things, make use of a command called hole. Select this surface and let me place a hole of diameter 10.5 millimeter at this position and at this position, and let me show you how to do the same. Now go for hole options. Now it is a simple hole of diameter 10.5 millimeter, which should be positioned here. In the same fashion, one should be positioned here also. Now the distance between here to here is given as 30 millimeter. In the same fashion, distance between here to here is also given as 30 millimeter. After giving these necessary things, say return, give the depth of cut, say finish. Then make use of a command called cutout. Let me start doing the cutouts here. Let me select this face as a cutting plane. Now how that cutout has to be taken? Now you can see it is given as R10. Now here that R10 is not shown, but you can see it in the connecting rod body part. Now this dimension, this circle will become R10. Now we have to do that R10, and which is connected tangentially exactly with respect to this centers. Now let me show you how to do the same. Now using circle by center point command, draw a circle of diameter 20 millimeter, which is supposed to be tangential to this one, or the center of both the circles should be same. Now after doing these things, start tangentially, start a line which is supposed to be tangentially, start a line which is supposed to be tangential, and here it has to be connected to the center like this. Here it has to be connected to the center, and simply draw a lines like this. Now after drawing these lines, once again connect it back here and draw a tangential and point on element symbol. Now make use of a command called trim the unwanted portion. Now this cutout should be happened on the other side also. Now let me select this. We have a command called mirror. Select this plane and it will be mirrored there also. Then let me say return. Now using through next option, give the cutout as through next. Now this cutout is going to be happen. Now one more cutout should be happen. Now select the parallel plane. Now you select this plane which is supposed to be parallel for a distance of 3 millimeter. Why I have given the parallel distance as 3 millimeter? Let me show you. Now this portion of cutout has to be taken place. Now that's what here you can see it is given as 3. It is given as 3 for a distance of 14 millimeter. Here cutout has to be happened. How it has to be happened? In the shape of this one. You can see this is given as spot face diameter 18. We don't have any command of spot facing. So instead of that, let me show you what best we can do here. Now we have to construct a circle of diameter 18 mm from here, and here you can see approximately distance may be 1 or 2 mm, but here nothing is given there. Now let us consider it as 1 mm. Now let me show you how we can obtain the same. Now using circle by center point, let me draw a circle of diameter 18 mm and the center of all the 3 center circles should be same. Now starting from this sheared point, if I connect it, it will become a horizontal line. So let me draw a line little bit below like this and simply draw a profile in any of the fashion. Now it has to be connected properly to the sheared point like this. Now make use of a command called symmetry. This is the axis. These two lines must be properly symmetrical to each other. Now as I told you, the distance between this edge and this line, let me give it as 1 mm because nothing is given there. Then make use of a trim command, remove the unwanted portion of a circle. Now say return. Now the depth of cut should be given as a specific value. What is the specific value? That is 20 minus 3 minus 3, which will become 14 millimeter. For a distance of 14 millimeter, we have to do this cutout. Now if you observe the side view, here also we have a cutout, but if you observe here, the cutout is not completely happened. So now select this face and let us do one more cutout over there. Now let me draw a circle with respect to this center like this. Now using a line command, starting somewhere here, let me draw a line here and let me draw a line like this. Simply draw any form of sketch. Now using trim command, trim this unwanted portion. Trim this unwanted portion. Now here you can see this arc should be supposed to be started somewhere here. So the radius of the arc should not be 30.5, it should be 29 only. Now the radius of the arc should be 29 only. So using connect command, let me connect the endpoint over here to endpoint. Using connect command, connect the endpoint of this line to the endpoint of a arc. Now you can see it is not happening. So let me delete this line and let me redraw that portion. From here to here, just simply draw a line. Now say return. Profile is not closed. Here it is saying that this profile is not closed. So let me draw the lines properly here. Now you can see the profile has been closed. To what extent it has to be cut? It has to be cut up to the end point there. Now you can see vertex it is showing. For that vertex, you please do the cutout, then say finish. Now you can see this is what a required side view that we wanted. Now the same thing should be happened here also and at the bottom also. So what we can do is, we have a command called mirror copy feature. Cutout 3 to be mirrored with respect to always smart, with respect to first this front plane. Now you can see either side also it is happening. Now at the bottom also the same thing should be happen. Now what we can do, select cutout 3 and mirror 1. Both the things we have to select. Then go for once again mirror copy feature, always go for smart. Then select this plane as a cutting plane. Now you can see At that bottom also we are getting that cutout. But before doing these things, before doing that mirror, you can see here when we have to do this cutout at the bottom also. So let us select cutout 2, cutout 3 and mirror 1. Cutout 2, cutout 3 and mirror 1. All the things should be mirrored properly with respect to this plane. Now you can see this is what a required portion we need to have. Now we have finished that portion. Now here you can see there is a cross section like this. How to obtain this cross section? Let me show you. Make use of a command called revolve cutout and select the top plane as a sketching plane. After selecting top plane as a sketching plane, using a line command starting from the midpoint here, simply draw a line like this and simply draw a line like this. Now using symmetrical relationship, these two must be symmetrical to the center. Now this dimension is 1.5 millimeter. Now say return. It is saying that revolved features must have an axis. Now this is the axis. Let me say return disconnected elements. Okay, it is showing that it is a disconnected elements. So now let me draw a shape approximately like this. After drawing this, let me say return. Now go for symmetric extend. Now go up to some of the point. What is the angle of cutout? Here, let me show you. The angle of cutout should be some value. If I come here, it is showing us 625. It is showing us 625. Let me give 120 degree as the cutout. Okay, you can see 120 degree cutout what is happening. Now instead of that, make it as 95 degree. Now you can see yes, we are getting it properly. Now say finish. After making 95 degree, now you can see here some portion is getting lost. We have to recover it. How to recover it? Go for a command called protrusion. Select this face as a sketching face. Now zoom this area properly. Make sure that from here to here I am going to draw a line, and in the same fashion here to here I am going to draw a line. Using circle by center point with respect to this center, let me draw a circle which is going to connect this line. Now using trim command, trim the unwanted portion. This sketch has to be mirrored with respect to this plane, because at the bottom portion also we are going to get that cut. So now let me say return. How much it has to be protruded? It has to be protruded for a distance of 33 millimeter. This is how we have to complete this patchwork. Now after completing this patchwork, now you can see we have this line. The angle is given as 30 degree, but start point is not given. But here this point is given as 13.5 millimeter and the diameter is 10 and diameter is 12. Now let me show you how to construct the C. Now let me go here. Make use of a command called revolve protrusion. Select the front plane as a sketching plane here. After selecting the front plane as a sketching plane, using a line command starting from somewhere over here, let me draw a inclined line whose inclination must be equal to 30 degree. After defining this one, using distance between command, the distance between the end point and this plane is supposed to be given as 13.5 millimeter. Now after drawing all those things, using this line, draw a line which is supposed to be perpendicular to that like this and connect a line to the midpoint over here. Then you draw one more line which is supposed to be perpendicular to this line. Okay, let me draw a line like this. Let me simply draw a line like this. Now using perpendicular symbol, this line must be perpendicular to this line and this line must be perpendicular to this line. It is already say there. You can see this relationship is nothing but perpendiculars. Now we know that the diameter of this one by 2 points you have to select is 5. 5 means because we are concentrating on a radius. Now here to here is, from here to here is 6 millimeter because it is given as 12. Now after defining all these things, what is the next step? Now make use of a command called axis of revolution. Let me select this itself as the axis of revolution and say return. The profile intersects itself. That means The profile is not completely connected, so let me draw the lines like this and let me show. More than two elements are joining at the same intersection. Okay, now using connect command, where is connect? Connect is here. Connect the endpoint of this line to the endpoint of this line. It is saying it is already existing. Endpoint to endpoint and endpoint to endpoint, endpoint to endpoint. It is saying everything is proper, but still it is saying more than two elements. Yes, why it is so? Because yes, this is supposed to be selected as axis of revolution. Okay, let me do one thing. Make use of construction command. Let us make all this line as a constructional element, and let me draw the sketch once again. Let me say written profile cannot overlap. Profile cannot overlap. Now construction, every line let me make it as a construction line. Yes, now it is coming. It is asking, yes, give the angle as 360 degree. Now you can see sketch is getting outside, so let me show you how to do that. It is not proper. It is becoming a window. Go for edit profile. Now let me redo all the things. Now from somewhere here, draw a line which is supposed to be an angle of 30 degree. The angle between this line and the plane is supposed to be 30 degree. Now the height is 13.5 millimeter. 13.5 millimeter. Now using a line command, starting somewhere here, draw a line which is supposed to be perpendicular, and similarly from the midpoint here, from the shear point, okay, draw a line which is supposed to be perpendicular. It is not getting, so okay, no problem, let me make it as perpendicular here. This line is supposed to be perpendicular. Now what is the length of this line? The length of this line is supposed to be 5 millimeter. In the same fashion, the length of this line must also be, this line must be 6 millimeter. Now after drawing these lines, using a line command, let me use a line to connect these two lines. Now after drawing these things, make use of axis of revolution. Let me select this line as the axis of revolution. Let me say return. It is saying profile intersects itself. Okay. Now let me make it as constructional element also, and then let me draw a line starting from somewhere here to here. Let me say return. More than two elements are joining at the same intersection. Return. Profile intersects itself. Okay, let me make use of a trim command. Let me show it. Yes, trimmed it is. Then what is the next step? Let me select this as axis of revolution. Return. Yes, we are getting now. Then say finish. Now you can see this portion has been completed. Now here it is having a countersink hole. The countersink diameter is not given, but instead of that, major diameter is given as 3, and let us assume the countersink diameter as always twice. Now with respect to this inclined plane, let me select it. Let me select this inclined plane. Now go for hole options. In the hole options, go for countersink. In the countersink, the diameter should be 3, the countersink diameter must be 6, and let that standard angle as 90 degree. Let me position it exactly at the center, and it should be a through hole. Then say finish. Now this completes almost all the construction of the 7th part, that is called as cover. Now using save command, go to summary and type the title as cover, and the file name should also saved as cover in the respective folder.